Good evening, my name is Oshan, and today I'll be going through my code for my final project for Java 2. So firstly, I was asked to create a JavaFX program that basically is something like a website that displays an inventory of different cars. Here are different brands and some details of the cars, such as the 0 to 60 performance, the type, whether it's a convertible sedan or a pickup, or SUV, the powertrain, electric car, gas, and the colors offered: black, blue, green, orange, red, white, yellow, and gold. The application should allow the user to filter through the price range, the brand, the color, and the type. They should be allowed to purchase a vehicle, and when they click on one of the vehicles, it should pop up a bigger image with details of that specified vehicle that they clicked on. So here's my JavaFX that I created for this program, and I'm using a border pane, and at the top of my border pane I have a label that says exotic moves car inventory. Then I'm using a vertical box for all of my filters, a scroll pane so the user can scroll up and down. This is where I have a tile pane instead of a scroll pane, because this is where all of the cars will be populated from a list, and nothing to the right, nothing to the left. So I'm gonna go ahead and run my program real quick so we can show that it works as it should. So here we have it. You can scroll, you can see all the different color cars. If I were to click on only Ferraris, you can see all the Ferraris. If I only wanted to see white Ferraris, then I can only see white Ferraris. If I want to see Ferraris and Aston Martins, I can see there. If I want to see a Genesis, I can see a Genesis. So the filters work. If I want to see blue, if I only want to see green cars, yeah, so the filters work. If I were to click on one of the cars, you see the name of the car, so McLaren, the price, the color, the type, the number of series, and the time for 0 to 60. Then I can go ahead and purchase this form. Go ahead and type in my name, John Doe, and the credit card number. But I'm gonna go ahead and see if it would. I'm gonna go ahead and check my validation method to see if this would go through. So there we have an alert that pops up that I entered an invalid date and that the card number is invalid. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my test card number right here, paste it, I'll put in the date. Then it's gonna tell me that the CVC is incorrect. I'm gonna try to enter only 2 numbers for the CVC. It's still not gonna go through because the CVC must be 3 numbers. So I'll put another number. Then I get a receipt. I get a receipt number, the brand of the car, and the total. And then that's basically the program. Now let's go through my classes and my algorithms. So first class I want to go through is my vehicle class. So for my vehicle class, I basically just have all the fields necessary for the vehicle. So the brand, the price, the color, the type, the number of cylinders, the speed. I'm using an image path for each class to store the path of the image. And I have my constructor here, populate all the necessary fields. Then I just have accessor and mutator methods, which I'm only using the accessor methods. Go ahead and move over to my purchase form, where this is the form that this is the class that will be created when a user tries to purchase a car. So they have to enter their first name, as we just went through, first name, the last name, card number, expiration date, which is now a string, because I converted it from a date to a string when I'm creating the object, which we will soon get to. Then their CVC. These are all strings. But in my validation, I check to make sure they are numbers and that they're entered correctly. Then I have my constructor, regular constructor to initialize all fields. Then I just have accessor and mutator methods. Then over here for my receipt, I have an order number that will be random to each purchase. I have a car price and a name, a constructor to populate all of these, and I'm calling my generate receipt number method that I created down here. That basically just create a 4-number, well, not 4-number, a 6-number random receipt number for each purchase. And then I have my printout method, and this basically just creates us a stage and displays all the receipt details. Then now I can go back to my exception classes. This class just prints the alert for an invalid CVC number. This class does it for the name fields, and this exception class is for the card number. So can move along to my controller method, where I'm doing this was where most of my programming was done. So first thing I'm doing is I have my imports. This is a very important import because this is how I use, this is the import that I needed to filter through the image, to the objects, the vehicle objects, dynamically and efficiently. So first thing, I'm taking my tile pane so I can populate the UI with the different vehicle objects, or not the object but the vehicle images. My scroll pane. Then I'm taking all my checkboxes so I can add a method. I can check when this clicked, so I can add my apply filter method, which will then generate all the sedans if I was to check the sedan checkbox. So right here I have an observable list of vehicle data type called vehicles, and I'm creating a FX collections observable list. And then I'm creating all the objects for each vehicle. So each object has their image path, their brand, the price, the color, the type, number of cylinders, the speed, time, and the portrait. I did that for all images. Then I move over here to I created a filter list that wraps that list that we just went through, which we will soon move on to when I set the predicate to, and this is how I filtered this is how I filtered the UI with this list. I set a predicate that ran through each vehicle and check if certain conditions were true. Then I have this is an initialize method that runs on startup. So as soon as the program loads, all of the images are loaded from the vehicles list, of the initial list, the first list. So I want to display all the cars without any filters. And I'm adding them to the tile pane with a gap of 10 pixels in between, and I'm setting them to fit the scroll pane, the height and the width. Then I'm calling my checkbox state method, which basically just, you can move on down to it. Checkbox state method, where he just checks if the user clicks any of these buttons, and then it calls the apply filter method, which will then apply the filter and update the UI with the correct images, the necessary images. So after my initialize method, we have my show card details, and this is the method that I use to create a bigger image of each vehicle. So as you can see, I'm taking a parameter of a vehicle, and then I'm creating a larger image view. I'm creating another image view, making it wider, and add the details: the name, the price, the color, the type, number of cylinders, the time. Created a button, so if the user wanted to purchase it, then I'm calling my show purchase form if the user clicks that purchase button, which we'll move on to next. Then in my VBox, I added all my labels and the button, also the image. Styled it to 20 pixels, padding around all the contents, and aligned them center. Created a stage, and then displayed it. Created a stage, created a title, and add the scene to the stage, and then displayed it. Then this is my, whenever the user clicks the purchase button on the, which is inside of the show card details method, then we want to show the form, the purchase form, which has a label, has a title label, a label for the first name, last name, card number, expiration label, and the CVC, as long as text field for each, or for most. I have a text field for the first name, last name, card name, date pick, for the date, and for the CVC field, not one for the title because they're self-explanatory. Then I'm setting all of them to the same width so they look uniform. I add them each to a H box so they can be grouped properly, and I name them rows. So I have 5 rows. Then I'm aligning all of them to the left, so it looks very neat and organized. Then I have my complete order button that whenever the user clicks this button will then validate each field, each text field, and then if those data are valid, then we'll move forward to displaying the user's or the customer's receipt. But first I style the button to a color of green, the background color of green, and the white text. Then I have my on-action button for when the user clicks, my on-action method for when the user clicks the button. And I have them in a try and catch because these methods can throw exceptions. So I'm using my validate name method to validate the first name field and the last name field. We can go ahead and move on to it to see what that does. So it takes a string parameter and declares that it may throw a purchase form name exception, and then it checks if the name matches have characters of A through Z, lowercase and uppercase. And if it is not true, then we want to throw a new purchase form name exception, which creates a alert box and alerts the user that their name, whether it's a first name or last name, is invalid. Go back up. Then I'm getting the value of the date picker because this is not a string. It comes in a local date, so I'm assigning it to a local date. And if this is null, then we want to print another alert, not print, but create another alert to notify the user that the date is invalid. Then we have a validate card info that deals with the rest of the data. It checks for the card number in the CVC field. Move on down to it to see what it does. Right here, we're taking the card number, show the card number, and the CVC. So the first thing it does for the card number is check if it's numeric, and I assign it to a Boolean value, and it checks if it has space because we don't want any space in our credit card number. And then it checks if the number is not numeric, or the credit card length is not equal to 16, or it has space, then we want to throw a purchase form card number exception, and we're passing the credit card number parameter value as an argument to that exception class. Then now we're validating our CVC number, making sure it's numeric. We create a Boolean value called is CVC numeric, and then we're checking if it's a number. And if then in our conditional statement we're checking if the length is not 3 or it is not numeric, then we want to throw a purchase form CVC exception, and we're passing the CVC parameter value as an argument. Now we move on to our apply filters method, which basically just filters the UI dynamically. So this filter vehicle is already wrapped around the original list that has all the vehicle objects in it, and it's going through each vehicle and it's checking if these checkboxes are checked. If so, it will return true, and it goes through and it does that for the brand also, and then it goes through each object, and if the vehicle matches one of these brand matches and the checkbox is clicked, then it will display that car. If not, it won't. It would hide it. And does the same thing for the color, and the same thing for the range, and for the type. We're doing the same thing throughout. And then we're just calling our update tile pane method to clear the pane completely, and then just print out all the images that's in the filtered vehicles, all the new images that's in the filtered vehicles list. Then we already went over our checkbox state method. It's just basically applying a apply filters method to the all checkboxes for the brands, the colors, the price range, and the car type.